We are back, episode 8. This is a Monday. It is January 22nd, 2024. And just want to let you guys know, you can, of course, subscribe to this show. You could also do your ratings, 5-star review. Much appreciated. I see a bunch of Loser Lions fans that wanted to downvote my podcast, which, I get. I'll just say this. You can go get a job and maybe, use your time and spend it a little bit more wisely. But anyway, let's dive into the show. So, Joel Embiid just dropped 70 fucking points in a game. I think that's the third most, or the second most since Kobe. And obviously, of course, the 100 points by Will Chamberlain, but that is actually a 76ers record, because Will is actually, he played on the 76ers. It's a 76ers franchise record. He was 21 of 23 from the line, 70 points, 23 of 39 from 2, 1 of 2 from 3. He also added 18 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal. Wow. Here's the thing. I'm going to enjoy this because Joel Embiid is a Kansas Jayhawk at heart. He spent 1 season there, was supposed to spend more seasons there, but he ended up being better than maybe anybody thought. Watching Joel Embiid play basketball is just so fun. I love the guy so much. I've been a huge fan of his for a while. Hats off and credit and congrats to Joel Embiid, because that game, that is just a crazy game. There's also another one going on currently. By the time this podcast finishes, I might have an idea of how many points he scores. But Karl Anthony Towns is also approaching that. He has 53 points, and there is about 7 minutes to go in the third actively. So pretty crazy stuff. By the time you listen to this, maybe he has, passed Embiid in points for today. But anyway, just a little fun way to start off the show. And again, you have the, like I mentioned, the haters, and let's just dive into that. Because I want to talk about that. It has nothing to do with, me personally, right? I mean, is it annoying? Yes. It's annoying that now my podcast on Apple Podcasts is now at 4.3 stars when it has a bunch of 5 stars and has a couple lowlifes that want to go and, rate it a 1 star. But it doesn't bother me that much. It bothers me that people do this in general. I mean, think about it. We're a community, right? Whether you realize it or not, we're a community of podcast listeners, of TV show watchers, movie watchers. Anytime somebody puts out a rating, it means that essentially you're giving some love to the art and the artist, right? At the same time, you're also realizing you're a part of a community, and you're trying to give a recommendation. You're trying to steer somebody in the right direction to choose the right film, movie, TV series, podcast, album. That's how I felt. That's always how I felt about, ratings. It's why I never bullshit them. I'll never hate watch. I'll never, blow up a rating, what are the rating bombs or whatever. I'll never do that. I got to tell you though, there are a lot of people that do. And there are a lot of people that do. And man, my thing is, not only are you disrespecting the people in your community, by doing that, because we're all a community of people that take in entertainment. Not only are you doing that, but you're also putting out just that negative energy into the world. And to me, that shit is going to come back to bite you. It always does. So you know what? Mr. Lowlife who can't get a job and, is sitting there making fake profiles on social media, making a bunch of accounts to downvote things that he doesn't like. the fact that you have no life, I mean, it can get worse, and it's going to, because you put that negative energy back, and then negative energy comes out and hits you right in the fucking face. So, yeah, I think it's fucking stupid. I mean, if you think about it, can you imagine taking time out of your busy schedule to review a podcast? First off, you're listening to a podcast that you don't even like, because a lot of the times it's like Spotify won't even let you review a podcast if you don't listen to it, which is how it should be. That is the best way to avoid, hate listening, which you still will, but still. But the idea, like, I can't even fathom, with how much shit I have to get done, I cannot fathom taking time out of my day and rating a podcast poorly because I disagree with what the person brings to the table, or I don't even like the person, because you know what? That is the ultimate beta energy. I mean, you are a fucking clown if you have now allowed somebody to get that much into your mind, that much into your head, that you're going to their podcast and you're downvoting it. You are a fucking loser. It's really that simple. It doesn't get any... There's nothing more simple than that. You are a fucking loser. Get a life. Smell grass, touch grass. I don't care. Figure it out. Because I'll tell you right now, it only gets worse if that's the energy you're going to put out into the world. Oh my God, I can't believe we're talking about that shit, but good Lord. I mean, it's not just, again, it's not just me. I mean, think about it. I use, say, Rotten Tomatoes for, like, the fans, for instance. I think critics are idiots, but I use Rotten Tomatoes, like the fans section, the fan score. I use that to kind of decide, okay, maybe I shouldn't spend all my time on a movie if it has a 32 fan score, right? But there will be people that purposely, they don't like the movie, they don't like the director, they don't like the actors, there's something controversial, and they'll review bomb it. And again, it's so disingenuous to do that to people who are part of that community that want to watch that movie or check out that movie or whatever. And I'm just so fucking tired of it. Like, get a life. There's always going to be trolls and everything, but, like, my God, like, can you do something to contribute to society? I mean, Jesus. But anyway, not going to talk too much about that. I do want to talk about my preparation. I want to talk about my off season. For those of you who are interested, if you're not, I'm sure you can skip through. But it's January. The team that I cover in the NFL is out. I do cover the NFL still. So there's that. But the team I cover is out. So I've been doing a lot of free agent, prep and looking at the free agents and breaking shit down and watching some tape. But also, I'm excited to get into the draft. And every year, like, Alexis and I will bring on prospects and we interview them. And it's great. I mean, you get to know a little bit more about the person, behind or, underneath the helmet. And that's the cool thing, right? So that's really, I think, the plan. Like, we're going to eventually start doing that. But I do want to get plenty of content out there for the free agency period and for the draft. It's always a fun time of year. And since the Rams are out of it, earlier than maybe I expected, I guess I have additional time. I obviously would love to be able to cover a team that is going to the Super Bowl again, but that wasn't to be this year. And I'm not going to get too much into it, but my thoughts on it. So yeah, I'm really getting excited. I typed up all of my database. So, that's like, 200 plus players that are in my spreadsheet, and I'm excited to just get into it, evals and all that. It should be a lot of fun. I think nothing is more entertaining than draft season, outside of just playing legitimate football. I mean, I think when you look at it, it's just one of those things where it was, I don't know, it never gets old. And I feel like you would think eventually, just watching college tape, eventually it would get to be too annoying and it'd get too repetitive. I've never really felt that way. I feel like every draft kind of tells its own story, and especially when you get to interview players and you remember that. And then when those guys go to get paid and you're talking about them in the off season, being free agents, you kind of have that realization like, oh yeah, that guy was part of that draft. I interviewed that guy and so forth. So always cool stuff there. I'm excited for the draft season. I'm excited for free agency. I'm excited for next year, even though it seems like it's really far away. Not looking forward to that. But one thing that will definitely tie me over is the fact that I'm going to be able to play golf all summer, and that's going to be really fun. As you guys know, I just got into golf. My goal was to get good at golf. That was literally my goal. So I wouldn't say I'm good yet. I have a long way to go, but I'm, getting there. And I'll say this. I mean, if I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my career life, so to speak, until retirement, whatever that looks like, if I'm going to be doing this forever, or most of forever, then I need to have a hobby that allows me to go outside, because you guys know I love this stuff so much that it is somewhat of a hobby, but at the same time, it's also my job. So, it's tough, right? So you got to make sure that you have a focus on something that gives you kind of comfort, but also, I think it's really important to focus on things that aren't your job. That's how I look at it. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it's really important. If you're, say you do that, right? And you go around and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do this hobby. Well, if the hobby is related to your job, you're not getting enough of a mental break. I think everyone needs a mental break from their job. Okay. Everyone needs that little, okay, I need to take a step back here. But if your hobby is just an extension of that, it's not going to help. So, I mean, this is a hobby too. And I'm going to take this however far it goes. I mean, we're almost over 600 downloads. Appreciate that, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think that's an important thing. I think it's important to be able to separate work and life. I think it's important to separate work from fun. And if those two things collide, which is certainly possible, embrace that. But, you'll hear me say it throughout the year. I'm trying to, avoid burnout. I think for the first time, I managed my burnout pretty well in 2023. I didn't quite get burned out. I think the closest I came was when I was really, pushing, right? I was really, pushing to get content out, and I had the flu. But burnout, aside from being legitimately sick, I thought I did a nice job of, kind of moving around that. And I burn out every year, but last year I didn't feel like I burned out, which is great because it allows you to keep consistent. A burnout is tough because once that happens, you've kind of hit what someone would call almost an artist version of rock bottom. You're not rock bottom. I mean, if you have, the throat that I have, you might be. Always losing my voice. Can't believe it's held up this long. But you're not rock bottom. But it's one of those things though, if you if you work too hard, you can get yourself to just quit. It's a big reason why, for instance, Sean McVay with the Rams, everyone's worried he's going to leave because you have to be good at managing burnout. See, it's not unheard of for people to go above and beyond and continue to push and push and push, but the human body is the human body, man. That's what it comes down to. The human body is the human body. And if you push too far, we're not perfect, okay? We're not, mechs. We're not AI. We have, these imperfections. And if you push too hard, your body is going to respond negatively, because if you get really, really into the idea of okay, I'm just going to go balls to the wall until I can't anymore, by the time you finish your task or even beforehand, your body might just put you to sleep because you need it. So that's what I'll say there. But yeah, just always keep that in mind, folks. Anything you're doing, just know, and I need to get better at it. My dad actually told me this from a young age, because I always had a hard time going to bed. I always would stay up late. And my dad would be like, I understand, you want to stay up late and you feel like you're missing out on time, but you're not. And once you realize that the time you stay up, you're not actually missing out on anything, that's the best. Now, I haven't learned, because I still stay up late. I still work late. Then I try to get up early. It doesn't always work out. So, there's that. But, moral of the story is always, always, always avoid burnout if you can. So the Tennessee Titans have hired Brian Callahan as the head coach, and there are a lot of people that are upset about nepotism getting in the way. I wouldn't say that. I want to talk about Nepo babies, because I think a lot of people, obviously will call out nepotism, and I see it all over Twitter, nepotism this, nepotism that. Look, I don't come from that. Okay. I had to work my ass off to do what I'm able to do. At the same time, so did some of those nepotism, people that are blamed for nepotism. So did those people. I mean, just think about it. When you say, oh, that's just nepotism for you, just keep in mind Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams, Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the 49ers, Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Packers. Guys like that, okay, nepotism might be the reason they got the opportunities, but they're working really freaking hard with those opportunities. It's not a trust fund kid. It's not Jim Buss of the LA Lakers, who I don't even think is with the LA Lakers anymore. But I remember, I'm not that old, but I remember, when he was the GM and or whatever, and he took over and got all these guys and paid all this money, and just awful. Absolutely awful. So, again, I think the important thing is realizing that it's going to be different. It's going to be a case to case basis. There are guys that will never work a day in their life, that just live off of their parents' wealth. And then there are people that, don't live off their parents' wealth. They're known because of their parents, but the whole point of them is that they're really trying to avoid all of that. They're trying to avoid anything like that, any guilt trip, anything like that. They're trying to make it on their own. And I think, clumping them all into one group that's just like, oh, all these people are just given everything and they don't work for it. I just don't think it's fair. So on the topic of Brian Callahan, I don't think it was nepotism. I think he's worked his ass off, offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think he has a shot in Tennessee. Would I have fired Mike Vrabel? Absolutely not. But, Vrabel's gone. I like Brian Callahan. Underrated hiring, excuse me. Is he the guy I would have gone with? No. But I like it. It's different. It's fresh. They're getting a new stadium. I don't hate it for the Titans. I really don't. I know a lot of people are upset about it, but it is what it is. I mean, there's not really, much that you can do. I mean, nepotism, that or that. I mean, at least they really earned it, to be fair. So, there's that. I mean, you can't take that away from them. And they did earn it. I'm not going to take it away from him either. So, yeah. I want to talk about a movie that is getting a prequel that I kind of forgot about, and then I watched it finally last year for the first time, either last year or 2 years ago. It's called The Book of Eli, and if you guys don't remember Denzel Washington in that, I mean, he was awesome, total badass, great stuff. The Book of Eli is like a post-apocalyptic world, legitimate ending at the end, but John Boyega, who, if you don't know, played Finn in Star Wars, he is going to be cast as a young Eli in the Book of Eli prequel series. It's reportedly set 30 years before the film in the immediate aftermath of the nuclear event. So younger, not quite like super young, but like teen, a little bit older than a teen. And it's right after this nuclear event. I think this has a chance to kick ass. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for that. Excited for that. That is one of those movies that I think everyone should watch. It kind of reminds me of Fallout. If you've ever played those video games, really like Fallout. I think it kind of reminds me of that. Speaking of which, we'll get a Fallout TV series soon. I forget when it comes out, but it'll be on Amazon, in case you didn't know. But I like John Boyega. I don't see him as much in a lot of things. I think he took some time off. I know he was in the cloning one. They cloned Tyrone, which I will see at some point. But that one, that Book of Eli prequel series is going to be something interesting, man. I'm definitely curious about how that ends up working out, because I think the movie was great. I mean, I really liked it. I know there's another one, obviously. I Am Legend. I Am Legend 2. That's going to be coming out. I don't know when, but I know they're working on it. So, we'll see there. But yeah, pretty cool news. I mean, look, I think the entertainment field right now needs to get some good news in there. I mean, I think, the MCU's kind of on hold a little bit. I mean, I know they're filming a lot of different things, but we're not going to see anything new anytime soon. Deadpool 3 comes out in 4 months, 5 months. So there's that. Then you get Venom, but that's more of a Sony thing. So, we'll see. But yeah, I think I don't know if you guys get into it like I do, but I love the new TV shows and movies. And by the way, speaking of new TV show, Invincible Season 2 Part 2 premieres March 14th. Now, I should feel happy about this. However, I'm a little bitter because I don't think these mid-season finales make any sort of fucking sense. You have to understand, all this entire, this thing is entirely for is to get you to stay wired, maybe create a buzz, but also to get you can't just dump your whatever account. You have to keep your account in order to watch them. My thing is, I'm not going to remember a fucking thing from part 2 or season 2 when part 2 comes out. March 14th. I mean, we're going to get closer. At that point, we'll be pretty damn close to the draft. I mean, we're talking a month away. I mean, they better have some really, well thought out, concise summary, because this thing came out in December and now you're like, yeah, you're going to have to wait until March for the second part. To me, it's stupid. It's a disservice to the fans. I really like Invincible. Don't get me wrong. Really do. I've been patient. This is bullshit. So I've seen it before. I know they're trying to make it a fun thing because, it used to happen back in the day, mid-season finales. Sorry, it's on streaming services now. Mid-season finales were back when it was on TV. It's just a disservice to your consumer, and I just really hate it. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, but mid-season finales are anti-consumer. No doubt about it. It just tells me you don't give a fuck about me. And I just, I don't like it. Do not like that shit at all. I just don't know why you can't release the full season. And what? It's going to be 6 more episodes and we need to wait fucking 4 months for it. It's just stupid shit, man. It really is. Filming is restarting for Daredevil Born Again, so that's good news. I guess Daredevil appeared just once in Echo. I haven't seen the rest of Echo. I know Max is now open to making multiple Harry Potter shows, which I'm very curious as to how that goes. And, there's going to be another Coogler and Michael B. Jordan movie, so I'm curious how that goes. So, I mean, as far as, I don't know, as far as the entertainment industry, it is a little quiet right now. We're going to be getting better stuff as time goes on. But yeah, it definitely is a little quiet when it comes to that. So I think that's really what it comes down to. I mean, there's just really not a lot. I need to watch Reacher. I need to watch Echo. I need to watch more movies. Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know my friends Blaine and Alexis have. And, I got to watch that at some point. And it's like, let me tell you about a Scorsese movie, right? And trust me, I'm a big fan of them. But you got to plan out a whole fucking 3.5 hour block. And when you're a content creator and you're as busy as I am, that's not simple to do. Like, I have to decide, like, at 1, like, you know, because I'll record late and everything. I have to decide at 1 a.m. if, you know, yeah, I could go to bed around 4:30. Is that worth it? Like, Killers of the Flower Moon, watching that at 1? Do I start earlier? Do I get up at 5 a.m.? Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to, like, get up like it's some sort of fucking event. I mean, it's no different than The Irishman. Like, same deal. Like, really fucking long. Man, I miss that. Remember when The Irishman came out and everyone had, like, a joke about its the length? I miss that, man. That was fucking funny. Be like the Irishman takes longer to you know, do this, insert this or whatever. I don't know. I miss those jokes because that was funny. I tried. The Irishman was really boring. I'll probably try again, but you know, I can't deal with the slow burns. We talked about in the first episode, man. I can't deal with it. You know, I can't. I mean, think about this. Blade Runner, you know? I was so excited for that. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, Blade Runner's going to be great. Blade Runner was fucking boring as shit, okay? It was. It was so boring. So, I don't know, man. Hopefully it's not boring. I don't know when I'm going to see it. Like, I have no clue. I have none whatsoever. Maybe I won't ever see it. I do think I'll see it at some point, but yeah, I don't know. Just very weird. Like, yeah. 3.5 hours. And I know, like, The Godfather's long and Scarface is long and What a Wonderful Life is long and Citizen Kane, I believe, is long. I mean, great movies are long. I get it. But there's also great movies you can make in an hour and 46 minutes. It's just like, I don't know. Did that cut really have to be in there? It's like a 30-minute scene. Nothing important happens. Did that really have to be in there? And then they come out with the director's cut and you're like, oh, Jesus, now 5 hour long. It's just like, you know, end of the day, just so tired of it. So tired of it. I mean, these long ass movies, I get what they're doing, but you know, we're too on the go, man. I can't do a long ass movie anymore. I'll do 2 hours and 25 minutes. 3 hours and 30 plus is just, that is way too much. That is just way too long. So it looks like for the rest of this week, I'm thinking, you know, obviously my golf lesson, playing golf with a friend tomorrow. That'll be fun. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just be doing that, doing more content. And then you have championship weekend. You got the 49ers and Lions. And then you got the Chiefs and Ravens. I know I can't be the only one rooting for the Ravens, right? I mean, I don't want to see the 49ers. I don't really want to see the Lions, but I'll choose the Lions over the Niners. And I definitely don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs. I am so tired of that organization. So tired. I don't need... So their commercials are already so fucking obnoxious with Mahomes Auto and the bundle and save and all that shit. And it's like, I have nothing against State Farm, but I mean, good God, stop it. If they win another Super Bowl, are we just done? Like, is that the end of TV as we know it? I mean, are they? Oh, I know what's going to happen next. So they'll keep the State Farm commercials coming. Those will be a lot. But then the Burger King commercials, like the Whopper commercials, are going to be fucking narrated by Patrick Mahomes at that point. So if you're rooting for Kansas City, I hope you're aware that you are starting. You are essentially okay with starting the apocalypse. I mean, can you imagine that? Good Lord. I don't need more Kansas City Chiefs, commercials. And God knows, I mean, Kelsey's a free agent. Jason Kelsey was with the Eagles. Who's to say he doesn't hop over to the Chiefs? I mean, for real, I wouldn't be surprised. I know they got, Creed Humphrey, but maybe he kicks in at guard or something. Who knows? We all saw him with his shirt off and everything, celebrating. Wouldn't be surprising. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, in no way, shape, or form am I rooting for the Chiefs or the 49ers. I do hope the Lions make the Super Bowl because that means they would have beaten the 49ers, but I am all Ravens the rest of the way. I want to see Lamar get his ring, man. He gets a lot of shit. I want to see Lamar get his ring and have some bragging rights. It just feels like it wasn't supposed to go down this way, but, it is what it is. I mean, the Chiefs beating the Bills, I mean, they always do, I guess. So, but this will be the second playoff game on the road for Patrick Mahomes. So I guess we're going to see what ends up happening. I got the Ravens and I got the 49ers. And I think the 49ers beat the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I don't want it to happen, but that's what I think is going to happen. I'm pretty confident that's what's going to happen as well. So we'll see. But yeah, shorter episode, not a ton today on a Monday. Didn't really do a whole lot aside from, I made a few pieces of content, tweeted a little bit, whatever. But appreciate you guys sticking with me, enjoying the content. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You'll never miss another podcast episode. And be sure to drop a 5-star review. It really does help out the channel. So appreciate you guys tuning in this time around, and I'll be back tomorrow. You guys take care. Later, folks.